Welcome to the Foundation of Social Media Marketing. In this course, I'm going to give you a framework that will enable you to get tangible results online. Let's begin by discussing what this course is all about. Here's what you're going to learn. What is content marketing and why is it so critical for your success? The 7 critical questions you must ask yourself before you get started on social media. How to create your company's story on social media platforms. Creating your fantastic ideas to post on social media. Designing your social media roadmap. Your process for developing market-dominating, competition-crushing content. How you can turn one email into multiple social media posts. How to get your social media posts in front of your ideal clients. How to measure engagement of your social media activity. And now that you're crushing the competition with your social media engagement, in what other areas of your business can you also dominate? How to get everything designed, completed, and in place when you don't have the time to do it yourself. And we'll give you a whole list of resources that you can turn to for help. And you might be thinking, I need this in my business and I know it's going to drive my business forward, but I don't have the time, the energy, or the manpower to do it. Then check with your business coach about doing this for you. Now, throughout this program, you're going to hear me talk almost exclusively about content marketing. Why is content marketing the foundation of social media? Content marketing is a type of marketing that involves creating and sharing content such as videos, blogs, and social media posts. It doesn't explicitly promote your business, but it is intended to stimulate interest in your niche or industry, with the primary goal of driving profitable customer actions. Ultimately, you'll get more sales, have more loyal customers, and save money on advertising. Content marketing helps to build your expert status, authority, recognition, and credibility. It's more appealing than simple ads because it gives the consumers something valuable. It increases the market's trust in you and your business. It generates a greater volume of traffic to your site. Is appropriate in any stage of the buyer's journey. Is more readily shared throughout social media channels. It grows your brand and ultimately increases your sales revenue and loyalty to your business. Here's the plain truth. People don't want to be sold to. They want to buy. And in this age of social media, your job is to first give people something they truly value. And in many cases, that takes the form of excellent content that educates them. A wise man once said, "In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king." You may not feel that your level of expertise is exceptional, but if you know more about one area of your business than most others in your industry, then you're an expert to many. Most people love to be led and advised by someone who is an authority. In fact, you may not possess a greater knowledge about some aspect of your industry, but if you're the first business to educate your marketplace about the benefits of your product, you will be perceived as the expert and you will gain market share. Let me be very clear about this. The perception of an industry expert brings trust, and trust helps people take action. The more your prospects understand every dimension of your product or service, the more comfortable they'll feel when they cross that psychological or emotional bridge to make the purchase. Education increases the perception of value. With increased value comes the ability to either raise prices or sell a greater quantity at the same price. Education always deals in specifics, not generalities. You can't simply say, "This is the best product in the country," unless it's true and you can show people exactly why your statement is true. Otherwise, customers will know that you're exaggerating and they will question any further statements you make. Specific information breeds trust and validity. Consequently, greater trust leads to greater profits. Here's a key point to note. The more expensive the item or the more complex your service, the more you need to educate your prospects. If you're selling pizza, then you don't need to educate your target market. If you're selling a computer software package, then education will generally be required. So with that said, content marketing isn't a fad, it's mandatory, it's unavoidable. Social media doesn't happen without content. Advertising online no longer happens without content. As a business owner, you have to understand how to identify the gaps, formulate a plan, and implement solutions effectively. It's not good enough to say, I should have a blog, or let's place some videos on YouTube. In this course, you'll learn the most important categories of content marketing, and you'll understand the step-by-step process to put together a comprehensive content marketing action plan for your business. And the key is to learn these steps before you go out and create a piece of content. With the right processes in place, everything you do will be much more effective. Are you ready? Let's dive in. There are 7 critical questions you must ask yourself as we begin our journey together. It's my hope that they'll stir in you a realization of the critical nature of this course for your business success. First, do you have a content marketing strategy that is clearly documented? If you don't, then you may be missing the majority of your opportunities to increase your revenue through this method. Second, do you have different content for each stage of the buyer's journey? You can think of it this way. The buyer's journey is a map that helps you understand the journey that a buyer goes through before they make a purchase. There are 3 main stages: benefits of ownership, objections to ownership, and vendor selection. Each stage of the journey requires a different marketing and sales approach, and therefore a different social media approach. In the benefits of ownership, sometimes referred to as the awareness stage, a prospect has a specific need but is unaware of your company and the benefits you provide to meet their need. In this phase, you'll want to lean heavily on educational content. In the objections to ownership, sometimes referred to as the consideration stage, the prospect is now aware of your presence and the benefits you offer, but various objections now enter the picture, such as price and selection, timing of the purchase, financing, etc. You'll want to overcome these objections through the use of marketing materials such as expert courses, ebooks, case studies, live demos, comparison white papers, webinars, and videos. In the vendor selection, sometimes referred to as the decision stage, the prospect is trying to decide between you and your competitors. The number one way to compel a prospect to contact you is through a compelling call to action. Use testimonials, trial offers, comparisons against competitors, free reports, idea guides, and possibly coupons or discounts when appropriate. The third critical question you must ask yourself: to what extent does your content target the hot button issues of your prospects? Hot buttons are essential to building a successful business. They are the key considerations that customers think about when they process whether or not they should buy your product or service. Here are some example hot buttons. For a mechanic, the hot button issue is trust. For a coach or consultant, the hot button issue is results. For pizza delivery, the hot button issue is speed. For an auto parts supply store, the hot button issue is selection. Question number 4, can you describe your sales cycle? What's your buyer's journey? You'll not only want to understand the benefits, objections, and vendor selection stages, but also the typical time frame for each stage. 5th question, what are your goals for your content besides making sales? You might think that's all you need. However, when you see the possibilities, you'll be pleased that there's more that you can achieve. Perhaps you want to be known as the source of innovative ideas, to have clients respect you at a deeper level, to be the trusted authority for your profession, to be known as the business with the highest integrity, to be known as the expert in your industry, to get people to share your information and thereby generate referrals. There are many other strategic objectives you might consider. The point is that if you're not thinking this through and deliberately building strategy into all your tactics, then your tactics will not maximize on the opportunity you're presented with. However, if you systematically build in 4 or 5 strategic objectives each time, your tactics work harder for you and you get massive influence. Question 6. What are the hot button issues for your target market? What keeps your prospects awake at night? What problems, frustrations, questions, and concerns keep coming up? If you aren't sure what those are, you can ask your customers, your frontline sales staff, your receptionist, and your customer support division for their input. Finally, question 7, what's your market dominating position? A market dominating position is basically a distinctive advantage targeting the hot buttons of your market. This is the foundational element of marketing. It's the position you take that allows you to dominate the market so that your business is the natural or logical first choice for buyers. This will need to be clearly and carefully articulated in your content marketing assets. But here's the reality of this situation. You can't do it all. What follows in this course are the exact steps you need to take to roll out an effective content marketing initiative for your business. Be aware that you won't be able to do it by yourself. You'll need help. You'll need to understand your approximate budget for a comprehensive content marketing initiative before you can decide how to move forward. If you're a small business on a limited budget, then a single individual with dedicated time might be able to tackle this for you. Alternately, a digital agency might help you. If you're a larger business, a small team of people might be necessary to be effective. You might need a marketing manager to oversee the project. You'll also need a writer, an editor, a designer, and a publishing coordinator, also known as a social media manager. Yes, in a bigger business, one person could do 2 or 3 jobs, but certainly not all 5 jobs, or at least not effectively. It's possible to outsource some of the roles, but there are still costs for production and design. You also need to take into account the time and expense that you'll incur for testing ideas. All marketing involves testing, and some content promotions will outperform others, but you won't know which ones work best until you test. In this course, you'll learn the exact questions you need to ask in the right order to both find the breakthroughs and the actions that need to be taken. You'll learn the steps to perfect implementation. You'll be able to create a plan that will actually bring you results. And if you're not able to do the work yourself, you'll have the necessary knowledge to hold others accountable. Talk to your business coach about whether this information is right for you and your business. If you're going to ask your business coach or consultant or marketing team member to help you implement a winning social media program, you'll now have a playbook so everyone can remain on the right track. Now let's teach you how to create your company's story on social media platforms. Having a compelling company story is imperative for content marketing. Why? Because people often care more about the why behind your product or service more than the what you're selling. Stories enchant people, and you must captivate your audience in this attention deficit culture. So ask yourself these questions. What's your company's story? What's your mission? What do you stand for? What do you stand against? To what extent does your story make you stand out? Do your stories elicit an emotional response from your prospects? Do your stories involve conflict and resolution? Do you have or need different stories that match each phase of the buyer's journey? Here are several key points that will help you to effectively implement your company's story. First, write it down. Second, ensure that your mission is clearly conveyed in the story. Third, examine the story to determine if there's a way to make it elicit a stronger emotional response from the readers. Fourth, review the story again to see if you can increase the conflict, which will make the resolution even more satisfying. And fifth, if you have or need different stories that match each phase of the buyer's journey, write the subject title for each of these areas. As a reminder, in the benefits stage, a prospect may be unaware of your company and your ability to meet their need. In this phase, you'll want to lean heavily on educational content. In the objection stage, the prospect is now aware of how you can meet their need and your presence, and their research into all their options for a solution begins. You'll want to use marketing materials such as expert courses, ebooks, case studies, live demos, comparison white papers, webinars, and videos. In the vendor selection stage, the prospect is trying to decide between you and your competitors. The number one way to grow is through a compelling CTA, a call to action. Use testimonials, trial offers, comparisons against competitors, reports, idea guides, and possibly discounts or coupons. Since content is often the key to success in social media, here are ways for you to come up with fantastic ideas to post on social media platforms. Even at the highest levels, creative people run out of ideas unless they have a process they rely on to consistently generate new ideas. Here's a winning process to follow. Ask yourself, what's your process to consistently produce high-quality content ideas? Around which elements of your buyer persona could you develop content? What are the major changes that are upcoming in your company in the next 12 months? Have you done a competitive analysis to see which of their content gets the most attention that you could learn from and possibly replicate? Which of your content that performed well in the recent past could you use to produce similar or complementary content? What questions do your prospects ask that you could create content around? And what ideas could you come up with using suggested keyword tools? Here are the keys to effectively implement your fantastic ideas. Begin by brainstorming new ideas. Write out ideas that come to you, or brainstorm in a small group of people, preferably at a regularly scheduled time. Next, document your idea creation process. Are there significant upcoming changes in your company that will require additional content to be created? Write down a selection of topics that you could create content around. With that list, compare it to the hot buttons for your prospects and see which of your ideas should be the most popular. Take time to examine the performance of past content to see what performed well. Use Google Analytics or your own dashboards for this insight. If you don't have analytics set up, make it part of the agenda. Then, write down your final plan. Okay, now you're ready to create your social media roadmap. When you go into a new city that you've never been to before, it's nice to have a map. In the old days, people used a physical map. Today, most people use Google Maps. That's accompanied with a nice voice in the background telling you to turn left and go straight, etc. Navigating the field of social media marketing is fairly new and it can be confusing. It's one thing to know that you should plan your content marketing initiative, and another thing to know exactly the best way to get it done. Ask yourself these questions to help you develop your roadmap. What's your strategy for developing and deploying long-term content? Do you have a written plan? To what extent is the written plan followed? Have you developed your buyer personas? Are you satisfied with the buyer personas that you have developed? Have you created a specific and realistic journey for your ideal buyers to follow? Once you answer these critical questions, here are the keys to creating your social media roadmap. Create a written plan if you don't have one. Then set your marketing goals. Make sure they are SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Next, identify your buyer personas in detail. Think about how you will develop and distribute content. Then make a list of your company's content assets and initiatives. Now it's time to organize the content so that you can easily find it. Some suggestions: segment it based on the various stages of the buyer's journey or the type of content, by topic, title, or file location. Create a spreadsheet of these so they are easily located. You can then organize the content by campaigns or special events so you know which content goes into which campaign. Identify the buyer's journey for your ideal customers and buyer personas. And continue to develop your own plan. To help expedite this process, see the sample content planning worksheet that comes with this program as an example of how you might organize your plan. And if you need help building out your buyer personas, check out our resource section as well. Now let's work on your process for developing market-dominating, competition-crushing content. Obviously, there should be a method you use to create your content, but where do you start? Begin by asking these questions. Do you have a specific and written process in your company for creating content? That process should include timelines, editing procedures, and publishing procedures. How effective is your process? And how might it be improved? Your answers will help give you additional insight into the development process as you get going. Now follow these keys to effective implementation. Content ideas must be generated, then they have to be written, then edited, then designed, then published, and every step of the process must be managed. Assign team members to each role. It's important to note here that some team members might fill multiple roles, but will likely not do every role very well. According to your budget and level of aggressiveness, plan a minimum of 2 to 3 content offers per quarter, organized by the stages of your prospect's buyer's journey. Create a process to ensure that the content is SEO optimized, delivered on time, and with no mistakes. Focus on quality over quantity. Identify the channels where you will publish your content. Then identify how you will drive traffic to your new content. And be sure you analyze your results using Google Analytics. Again, consider researching free tools and using our resource section for suggestions. One of the secrets the social media experts use is repurposing content. What does it mean to repurpose content, and why would you want to? Repurposing content means that you're finding new ways to recycle your best content so that you can make the most of your past efforts to reach new people or reach the same people in different ways. Some people love video, while others like guides or reports. Let us show you how you can turn one email into multiple social media posts. Begin by asking these simple questions. Do you have an effective plan to repurpose content across multiple platforms? To what extent is your plan to repurpose content effective? Your answers to these questions will help you create a foundation for repurposing content for multiple projects and situations. Follow these steps when it comes to repurposing any and all of your past, present, and future content. Understand your available options for repurposing content. Check out our resource section for ideas. Access the list of content that you developed in your content development strategy. For each piece of content, write out 2 to 5 ideas as to how it can be repurposed. Document your plan to publish the repurposed content. When you do so, consider these best practices. Wait at least 2 weeks. Change the headline. Include a call to action. Publish only the top performers. Link back to your website. Use canonical tags for repurposed content. Now, why would you do that? Simply speaking, the canonical tag appears in a line of code and serves to mark republished posts as duplicate content, and therefore it identifies the post on your blog or your website as original content, and it preserves its SEO. And No-index the repurposed content, again, so you don't diminish or dilute the power of the SEO on your original content. These simple steps will enable you to post multiple times per day in various venues and be seen as a valued contributor and expert. Now that you have your content, how will you get your social media posts in front of your ideal clients? How will you promote it so you have the right people see it in the right places? Will you use native ads on Facebook or LinkedIn? Will you use advertorials? Will you reach out to influencers in the market? Will you guest post on someone's blog, or perhaps get media coverage through local or national media outlets? Start by asking these questions. Do you have an effective content promotion strategy? Okay, if so, explain it. Most business owners have no strategy, so here's what to do next. Understand your available options detailing how you can effectively promote content. Use our suggested template in our resource section. Decide how you will promote each piece of content, paid versus native, and to what extent you will promote it. Schedule a promotion plan using a calendar. Continue to monitor and analyze results, and we're going to show you how to do that in the next section. Now, once results start rolling in, it's imperative that you analyze and measure those results. Why is that so important? Simply speaking, if you don't, you won't know what's working. You won't know what produces results. This is called spray and pray marketing, and you'll be throwing away money month after month with no accountability. Start by asking yourself, do you have a plan to analyze and measure the performance of your content? What metrics are you tracking? Some of the areas you should track and measure are brand awareness, engagement, lead generation, conversion and sales, customer loyalty and retention, website performance. What is the ROI or return on investment of your total content marketing efforts? Be sure you include employee costs, technical costs, and advertising costs. And finally, how does this compare to paid marketing and advertising initiatives? Consider the following when you go to measure the performance of your content. First, decide on the metrics you want to track. A few of the options you might consider are your number of leads, the source of your leads, their location, the amount of time they spend on your pages, the bounce rates. Are they accessing your content via mobile device or their desktop? Your email open rates, the click-through rate, your overall sales, your number of sales per channel, your number of sales per content piece, and the popularity of your various content, such as blog posts, videos, shares, comments, click-through rates, etc. Next, establish SMART goals for your metrics. Then, create URLs with UTM parameters using Google's URL builder found at the link here on your screen. Now, UTM codes are snippets of text added to the end of a URL to help you track where website traffic comes from if users click a link to this URL. Keep your monthly marketing report updated and consider using templates for reporting, such as those found in our resource section. And finally, draw your conclusions from the reports and update your goals as appropriate. Allow me to add a final plea for sanity. If you attempt to do this on your own, please take the time to track and measure your results. If you do, you'll optimize your profits. If you don't, you'll throw your money away. And by all means, if you hire someone like your business coach to do this for you, demand to see your monthly reports. Without accountability, you won't get the results that you deserve. It's not too hard to see that you could easily grow your business by 10% or 15% or even much more by implementing a content marketing strategy. If you found this course helpful and you appreciated the quality of the questions provided, then consider the possibilities if you were to have someone help you find breakthroughs across these additional areas. Now, imagine the impact you'll see if you multiplied your efforts over these different areas of business growth. Content marketing is just one facet of internet marketing, and internet marketing is just one of the dozens of areas of impact in which true business growth professionals are trained to help you. Because each of these areas requires special training and a unique skill set, enlisting the help of your business coach typically produces a high return on your investment. They can guide you with the right steps to take at the right time. Reach out to your coach to have a conversation about how they can help you implement the ideas that you've learned in this lesson. Here's to your success.